The salesman points at the truck in your driveway and says the words that are about to cost you thousands. Your truck can tow 11,000 pounds. This trailer only weighs 7. You're perfectly fine. And on paper, he is telling the truth. But he is pointing at the one number that does not matter and staying completely silent about the one that does. Because there is a second number printed on a yellow sticker inside your own driver's door that decides whether you can actually pull that trailer safely or whether you are about to slowly destroy your transmission, your rear axle, and your brakes, one trip at a time. That number is called payload. And here is the part that should stop you cold. On a lot of half-ton trucks advertised to tow 11, 12, 13,000 pounds, the real payload is only around 1,300 to 2,000 pounds. Once you understand why that tiny number is the true ceiling, you will never look at a tow rating the same way again. And you will understand why so many people are driving around right now, families inside, dangerously over their truck's real limit with no idea. Let me show you exactly how this trap works. To understand the trap, you have to understand the difference between two words that sound similar but mean completely opposite things. Towing capacity and payload capacity. Towing capacity is the weight your truck can pull behind it, rolling on the trailer's own wheels. That is the big, glossy number the dealer quotes, the 11,000 pounds. Payload capacity is different. It is the weight your truck can carry on itself. Everything that presses down on the truck's own suspension. The passengers, the dog, the cooler and the firewood in the bed, the hitch hardware, and critically, the part of the trailer's weight that pushes straight down on the hitch ball. That last one is the killer, and almost nobody accounts for it. Josh, a well-known RV educator who goes by the RV nerd, put it as plainly as anyone ever has. He said, and I am quoting him, "There's all this talk in the industry about tow rating, but the fact is you will almost always exhaust your payload rating before your tow rating." His analogy is perfect. Imagine a heavy backpack full of bricks. If you put it in a little wagon and pull it behind you, that is towing. Easy. But if you strap that same backpack onto your back and try to walk, that is payload. That weight is now bearing down on you, on your frame, your legs, your spine. The trailer does the same thing to your truck through the hitch, and that downward force has a name, tongue weight, and it is the reason this whole thing falls apart. Here is the mechanism, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. For a normal travel trailer, the tongue weight, that downward push on the hitch, runs about 10 to 15% of the trailer's loaded weight. So take that 7,000 pound trailer the salesman waved off. At around 12%, that trailer is pressing roughly 840 pounds straight down onto your truck's payload, not your towing capacity, your payload. Now let us do the math the dealer never does with you. Say your half-ton truck has a payload of 1,650 pounds, which is realistic for a nicely optioned crew cab. You put your family in it, 4 people, that is easily 650 pounds. You throw a couple hundred pounds of gear in the bed and the cab. You add the weight distribution hitch itself, which can be 100 pounds. And then you drop that 840 pounds of tongue weight on top. Add it up. You have just blown past your truck's payload rating, while the trailer is sitting at 7,000 pounds, well under that 11,000 pound tow number the salesman sold you on. The truck can tow it. The truck cannot carry it. And those are two completely different questions that the industry has quietly merged into one. That is the trap, in a single sentence. But it gets worse because the 7,000 pound number was a lie too. Here is the second half of the con, and it is just as important. When you look at a trailer's brochure, the weight they advertise is called the dry weight, or the unloaded vehicle weight. That is the trailer as it left the factory. No water in the tanks, no propane, no batteries beyond the base, no food, no clothes, no camping chairs, no firewood, nothing. It is a number that describes a trailer nobody has ever actually camped in, and the moment you load it for real, it gains hundreds, sometimes over 1,000 pounds. Consider just the water. Fresh water weighs about 8 1/3 pounds per gallon. A 50-gallon fresh tank filled adds over 400 pounds by itself. Add 2 propane tanks, batteries, and all your gear, and it is completely normal for a trailer to gain 1,000 to 2,000 pounds over its brochure dry weight. There is a real example from a towing guide of a trailer advertised at 5,200 pounds dry that hit over 6,400 pounds loaded, a 23% jump, just from water and normal gear. So now stack the two lies on top of each other. The dealer compares the trailer's fantasy dry weight to the truck's fantasy tow rating, and both numbers are best case fiction. The real loaded trailer is heavier than advertised, which means the real tongue weight is heavier, which means it eats even more of a payload budget you were already blowing through. And this is why buyers get burned. It is not one misleading number. It is two multiplied together. Now, why does the tow rating itself look so impossibly high? Because of how it is measured. There is an engineering standard called J2807 that governs how manufacturers calculate that maximum tow number. And it assumes a truck that basically nobody buys. It assumes a 150-pound driver and just one 150-pound passenger with essentially no cargo and a specific stripped-down configuration, usually two-wheel drive, regular cab, the lightest possible build. Consumer Reports laid this out perfectly. They noted that a certain F-150 could be rated to tow anywhere from 5,000 to over 13,000 pounds depending on configuration. But the version buyers would actually find on the lot, the mid-level crew cab 4x4 with the common engine could tow a maximum of 7,600 pounds, not 13,000. And here's the cruel irony that traps buyers at the higher trims. The nicer your truck, the leather, the sunroof, the four-wheel drive, the bigger wheels, the more the truck itself weighs, and every pound the truck gains is a pound of payload it loses. So the loaded up luxury half-ton that feels the most capable often has the least payload of all. One owner documented a top trim half-ton rated to tow over 11,000 pounds that had only 1,330 pounds of payload. That truck, in his words, had no business towing that much, ever. So why does no one warn you? Because the tow number sells trucks and sells trailers, and the payload number closes neither. That silence is the whole business model. So let us make this directly useful, because there is a simple way to never get caught. It starts with the one thing almost no buyer ever does. Open your driver's door and find the yellow sticker on the door frame. It says, in plain language, the combined weight of occupants and cargo should never exceed a certain number of pounds. That number, on your specific truck, with your specific options, is your real payload. Not the tow guide, not the brochure. That sticker, it is the single most honest number in this entire process, and the industry counts on you never reading it. Once you have that number, you do the math the dealer skipped. Start with your payload, subtract the weight of every person who will ride in the truck, subtract the gear you will carry in the cab and the bed, subtract the hitch hardware, and then subtract the trailer's tongue weight, which you should estimate off the trailer's fully loaded weight, its GVWR, not its dry weight. Use about 13% for a travel trailer. Whatever is left is your true, honest margin. If that final number is negative, that trailer is too heavy for that truck, no matter what the tow rating says. And the single biggest mistake people make, the one that burns them again and again, is trusting the salesman's tow rating math and skipping this payload math entirely, because the payload math is the only one that tells the truth. But even after all of this, there is one more trap, and it catches the people who think they have already outsmarted the system. Here's the part that even careful buyers get wrong. Somebody hears all of this, gets nervous, and the salesman has a ready answer. He says, no problem, we will just add a weight distribution hitch, or we will throw some airbags on the rear suspension. And it sounds like a fix. It is not. A weight distribution hitch does something genuinely useful. It takes that tongue weight and spreads it more evenly across the truck's front axle and the trailer's axles, so the truck sits level and tows more smoothly and stops better. But, and this is the part they do not tell you, it does not add one single pound to your payload capacity or your tow rating. The weight is still there, it is just arranged more politely. And the hitch itself weighs 80 to 120 pounds, which actually eats into your payload. Airbags are even more deceptive. They lift a sagging rear end so the truck looks level and feels fine, but the frame, the axle, and the tires are still carrying weight beyond what they were rated for. As Josh the RV nerd put it, when a dealer just puts airbags on it, you are technically in the red on your payload rating, and you are burning your vehicle out at both ends. The truck looks fixed. Underneath, it is being slowly destroyed, and your warranty and your insurance are quietly on the line the whole time. That is the real cost of getting payload wrong. Not a bad feeling. A bill. So let us go back to that salesman in your driveway, pointing at your truck, telling you it tows 11,000 pounds, so this 7,000 pound trailer is no problem. You now know that he was not exactly lying. He was just pointing at the wrong number, the impressive one, and staying silent about the honest one on the yellow sticker 3 feet away from him. The tow rating was never a lie. It was just never the number that decides whether you are safe. Payload is. So here's the one small thing to do before you ever sign anything. The move that makes you smarter than the salesman and safer than almost everyone else on the road. Walk over to the truck, open the driver's door, and read the yellow payload sticker out loud. Then do the subtraction, people, gear, hitch, tongue weight, and see what is really left. If the number goes negative, you have your answer, and you just saved yourself a destroyed transmission and a trailer you can never safely pull. It is a 30-second check that the entire industry is quietly hoping you will never do. Now you will. If this changed how you look at that truck in your driveway, subscribe, because there is a whole industry counting on you not knowing this.